Hello everyone, I am Surrendal Reviews and I'm back, and I'm ready to look at some more Beast Wars Transformers. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can't convince you, perhaps this picture of my cats will convince you. And, random fact about my cat society is that libraries there only sell cars. But without further ado, let's get into this! So, the first episode we're gonna look at is the Chain of Command, where we see what happens when the Maximals don't have Optimus Primal leading them. But without further ado, let's get into this! So, the episode starts out with the Maximals investigating the Stonehenge from, episode 2, and they find out that there's something really weird about it, cause, well, it's not natural. But before they can dwell on that, well, the Predacons are there, and, the Maximals and Predacons fight. And in the fight, Pterasaur ends up destroying the, rock hedge on the, middle of the entire thing, and, well, everybody has to transform into beast mode and get away from it, and, it releases a kind of, signal thing, and, everybody's kind of wondering, what was that signal, and, why was that thing built in the first place? And that, signal actually releases a, probe that comes by and, parks itself right on that, Stonehenge in the middle. And, the Maximals and Predacons go to investigate, but in the process, Optimus Primal ends up disappearing, and, Dinobot and the Predacons both presume that, Optimus Primal is pretty dead. And, we get this scene with the Maximals.
One vote for Rat Trap. One vote for Dinobot. One more vote for Rat Trap. And... another vote for Dinobot. It's a tie.
Hey! What? Which one of you traitors voted for the Predacon?
It's a secret ballot. No one has to say who they voted for.
Ooh, great system, your democracy. No mechanism to break a tie.
You know, I gotta agree with Dinobot here. Did nobody in that entire conversation think to themselves, hey, we have an even number of people, there's a pretty good likelihood that we're probably maybe gonna have a tie, and, we probably need to have, like, a system for, I don't know, like, a tiebreaker, like, I don't know, picking sticks, and, whoever picks the, longest stick becomes a leader or something like that. That would probably be a little more practical than, this system here, and, luckily, Optimus Primal ends up, helping them make the decision with, this scene here.
Maximals, come in! Are you receiving? Maximal command base, this is Optimus.
Optimus, this is Rhinox. Where are you?
Hard to say. As near as I can figure, I have no body. My consciousness is intact, but my physical molecular structure is being stored and scanned inside the alien probe.
Hey, we'll come and get you. Just keep static.
Just beware of a Predacon attack. They'll be after you now that you're outnumbered. Rat Trap, you're in charge. I'm sure you worked out the chain of command peacefully.
But unfortunately, the Maximals are actually under attack, and Rat Trap orders Rhinox to build a device to get Primal back. And in the process of doing that, well, the Maximals are going to have to defend Maximal Base from the Predacons, and they do a pretty good job of that, but the Predacons are actually going to the pod to more or less wait for the Maximals there, or at least wait for something to happen over at the pod. And the Maximals managed to get that device to work, but yeah, they're gonna probably have to fight the Predacons before they get to Primal. And so, the Maximals and the Predacons fight, or more or less, the Maximals try to protect Rhinox while he tries to get Optimus Primal out. And he's kind of having some trouble until this scene here.
Hey. This whole place is a single device.
Megatron decides to retreat, but the Maximals are kind of wondering what is this thing, and that pod actually disappeared, and we're kind of left to wonder that for quite a while now. And overall, I will say that this episode is a good episode, and I do really like how in the first season, how you can definitely see that there's some weird stuff, but they more or less don't go like every single episode in season 1 is just nothing but this weird thing happen, but more or less where some episodes, like every few episodes, it kind of is more or less okay, this episode is about this weird thing that happened. And I really like that. It more or less builds some tension and more or less kind of keeps some suspicion as to what this planet is in the back of your mind. And I really like how this episode basically went from more or less this weird thing to more or less this conflict in the Maximals. And yeah, also one of Waspinator's many moments of how he got horribly destroyed by Rhinox, and yeah, I really like this episode, and I will say that this episode is actually paced pretty well, and the animation is pretty good, and definitely gotten better from, like, the first few episodes, but I think with that, on to the next episode, which is Power Surge, where Pterasaur gets a bit of a power boost and goes a little mad with power. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with Pterasaur discovering a floating island on this really weird planet, and he decides to go investigate. And in the process of investigating the floating island, well, he gets a bit of a shock, and that shock actually gives him a mega power boost, and Cheetor also ends up spotting him, and is a little suspicious as to just how fast that Pterasaur is going, kind of like he must have stumbled upon somebody's coffee supply. And meanwhile with Pterasaur, well, he goes back to Predacon base where he does this here.
Just the sort of plan a cowardly lizard like yourself would conceive of, Megatron! Which is why I am assuming command of the Predacons!
What? I thought you'd already learned your lesson about challenging me, Pterasaur.
Today I'm the teacher, if you have the courage.
Very well. I could use some amusement. Megatron, terrorize!
That was amusing, but not as funny as this!
Pterasaur, you treacherous worm. I'll finish you forever!
I don't think so.
And right as Pterasaur is about to order an attack on Maximal Base, well, his power boost is actually going down, so he's gonna have to get another shot of coffee. And Cheetor ends up returning to Maximal Base to warn the Maximals about the fact that, yeah, there is in fact a superpowered pterosaur that has gotten into somebody's coffee stash, and they're probably gonna have to do something about it. So, Optimus Primal and Rat Trap go to the mountain, or the floating island mountain thing, I guess I should call it, to go destroy it. And Tarantulas is a bit suspicious as to how Pterasaur managed to get all that power. So, he's also there. And, well, Pterasaur is also at the mountain island thing, and yeah, there's probably going to be a pretty big fight there. And so Optimus Primal decides to fight Pterasaur, and by fight I really mean just by rat trapping enough of a window to put some bombs on the giant floating mountain thingy, and Rat Trap does a pretty good job at that, while Primal does a pretty good job at keeping Pterasaur away from the floating island mountain thing. And up until Pterasaur manages to down Primal. But before he can finish off Primal, well, he has to go get his other shot of coffee, and Tarantulas ends up also being there to try to stop Rat Trap from getting away, and well, Rat Trap ends up defeating Tarantulas, and well, Primal ends up being pretty a-okay and ends up getting Rat Trap and himself down from the giant floating island mountain thingy. And Pterasaur, well, he gets this scene here.
Blast those Maximals! They destroyed my power! But at least I got rid of Megatron.
Well, look who's back.
Help!
And overall, I will say that I really like this episode. I'm kinda shocked we didn't see an episode that was kind of like this in the original Generation 1 Transformers, where, you know, say like we got like a superpowered Starscream that just went and betrayed Megatron and took command of the Decepticons and tried to go murder the Autobots. I'm surprised we didn't see that in Generation 1, but other than that, I really like this episode, and I really like how Tarantulas was pretty suspicious from the start on how did Pterasaur get so much power, because he clearly is not this powerful, otherwise then he probably would have taken it a long time ago, and he's gotten it from somewhere. And I really like how that power that Pterasaur has is kind of something that's really only temporary. I guess it can be kind of like a metaphor for like a drug addiction if you think about it, or maybe kind of like a metaphor for power in general, in the sense of it's really only temporary, and yeah, you gotta keep having it just to be able to feel like, you know, you're all powerful and that kind of stuff. And I also, I guess, kind of like how it's a bit more of a Tarantulas and Pterasaur episode than like a Maximal episode, I guess, if you think about it, because, you know, Pterasaur is kind of the main character in this entire episode, which I really like, and basically makes Pterasaur go from this guy in the Predacons to actually gives him a front row seat and more or less a main role in this episode, and I really like that. And I will definitely praise Beast Wars for actually having a lot fewer characters that we can actually get more development for said characters than in Generation 1, where, you know, we have so many and so few of them actually get development. And overall, I really like this episode, and again, I also really like how this is kind of more of a Pterasaur episode than any one of the Maximal episodes. But I think that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.